What's up, everybody? Zain here with Everything Vibe. I'm joined by Ronnie. Ronnie, how you doing, man?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Doing good, dude. It's the end of the year. We got the holidays coming up. I know you got some travel plans. I have literally nothing to do, so I'm so excited to be able to jump into VR starting on, I guess, Friday of this week. But yeah, man, you got where you headed up? Where I'm sorry, where are you headed to?
Yeah, so I'm going to Colorado for the most part, visiting family a little bit, and then from there we're all going to Colorado for about a week. So it'll be a nice change of pace. I'm hoping it's not too cold over there.
Are you a big
It's
skier?
yeah. So
Nice.
definitely going to be skiing, and actually I'm really excited because this is the first year that our daughter is old enough to learn how to ski. So
Very cool.
yeah,
Have
we
you
haven't
have
figured
you
out all
tried any
those.
good VR skiing games or
No, I
experiences? I'm
I
just
have
curious
like
how
I
it would
haven't even.
compare.
Yeah, I haven't even looked into it. Like, I'm wondering. I mean, honestly, the closest thing I can think of that ski-ish would be Sprint Vector.
Yeah, same thing popped
But
in my
like,
head.
yeah, because since you don't have anything on your feet, but you do like have the controllers, you can kind of simulate like part of
Yeah,
it through like pulling
but that's gonna be
yourself on
some
the ground. But
crazy locomotion with your body not
yeah,
moving to match the
no, for sure.
matching what you're seeing.
I have a feeling that no one would do it better than Sprint Vector. Honestly, has
True.
already done it. Like as
Yeah.
far as like with our current technology and current controllers and everything.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I'm actually curious now. I'll take a look around. But
Yeah, I know
well,
that's a good question.
yeah. So let's dive into it. I think the main thing we want to talk about today is our experience with contractors. But literally before I hit record, you and I were talking about some news, which before I
Yeah,
even let you share with me, I was like, let me just hit record so we can chat about it on the show.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, I mean we haven't had any like news segments on the show for a while now, and it came out fairly recently since I think the last episode that we had aired. It was December ish.
Early December,
I'm
yeah.
trying to I'm trying to think. Yeah, it looks like early December is when they first announced it. But I was just thinking, since we hadn't discussed it at all, the announcement of the Epic Games Store, and kind of how that might impact Steam in any way, if at all, for the VR content wide. I mean, basically, for those of you who aren't aware, Epic Games, they were famous for mostly the Unreal series of games and the Unreal Engine. Later, they developed Gears of War and uh, you know really popular uh, studio. They eventually made Fortnite, which just blew up overnight. It seemed not overnight. It was
That
kind
was
of a
such a
slow burn
different
at first.
approach to a game, huh? Just making it completely
Yeah,
free.
yeah, exactly. No, with yeah, their free to play model, and then selling dances and all those I'm
Yeah,
not a
the
big Fortnite
add-ons and
player
things.
by any means, but yeah, they obviously are making a killing on Fortnite, and uh, with all that exposure, millions and millions of players, opening the Epic Games client on a daily basis to play that game. They decided they've been apparently doing research for at least a couple of years, I think, maybe more, and decided that they want to compete with Steam and start selling, games online. And the kicker is, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I want to say that they are proposing, yeah, that they're gonna that basically Steam had recently came up with uh, like updated plans on the distribution between when someone sells a game on Steam. I think in the past, Valve was getting an even larger cut of the sales, but recently they had made some kind of changes to where I think if your game did fairly well, you would get like 70%, I believe. And Valve would take about 30%. Well, right right off from the get go, and that was like the best scenario on the Steam side, right? It used to
Yeah.
be worse, and I think even now it's worse if you don't hit certain milestones. But I don't remember. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But so at best in Steam, if you're putting your game on that platform as a developer, you're going to get 70% back of the proceeds for anyone that buys the game. For for the Epic Game Store, you'll get 88%.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
A
And so it was a pretty
significant
aggressive.
difference,
And
actually. Yeah.
exactly, and the way they were kind of making it sound was, hey, we've done the math, and even at 88%, we're still going to be making a profit. So you can imagine, kind of a jab at Valve, like,
Yeah.
hey, they're taking way more money than they really need to be. But that said, they kind of, they in a nice way kind of started out, I think, the announcement by more or less saying, like, they acknowledged that at one point it needed to be that big of a split because there was no infrastructure, and it was a lot. There was probably less volume. When the store initially came out and all that kind of stuff. So it
Yeah.
more or less was like, okay, maybe the margins used to have to be that, but now overhead's gone down and we can take a lot less and still make money. So this is what we're doing. And they really, their whole announcement was very developer friendly, trying to say, hey, we're developers, you're developers, we understand what you need, and we're going to take less money, so come and support our store. And so
Now,
I mean,
my one question to that is, will they have any VR support?
yeah, that's what. So as far like everything that I was reading, I don't think they don't have any kind of like VR client, kind of like Steam does, like where
Yeah.
it manages like the hardware. And I mean, they kind of were vague in terms of, they said, well, we're not going to have anything like in the platform that officially supports VR, but if the game supports it, then go ahead, kind of thing. So, but
Hmm.
I don't really know
Okay.
how that would even work. Like, I haven't seen. I mean, I don't think there are any games out there right now that aren't purchasable through Steam or Oculus that that work in VR that I'm aware. I mean, obviously you can run like just normal, programs and .exe files and stuff, and they'll work with headsets. But so I don't like. The short answer is I don't think they're doing really. I don't think they're taking a stance one way or another, which means to me, I don't think they really have any kind of an intent to highly focus on VR support. So it'll just be up to, if a developer has a game that happens to work with VR and they want to put it through the store, then great. So, I mean, my
Gotcha.
kind of gut feeling is for VR, I don't think it's really going to make a big difference. Um, but I mean, I guess if games end up being on all kinds of multiple platforms, including the Epic Games platform, and it was built for the ground. But I mean, I'll be interested. I wonder. I haven't had a chance to talk about this development with any of the studios or game developers that we have contact with. I'm wondering what they'll say, because just my gut feeling tells me that there's a lot of hooks in the Steam VR platform that you get a lot of benefit from just by
Yeah.
but by publishing through Steam. But I don't know. I could be completely wrong, and maybe things will work just as easily, um, you know, on a different.
All right.
But
Well,
yeah,
we can wait for more info on that because I mean, like I said, I
yeah,
hadn't heard anything about this, and I was just curious how it would affect, any type of
yeah.
VR platform.
No, I
But
mean it's a big announcement. So regardless, if
hmm
I mean, I'm sure there are some listeners out there that maybe use Steam, use their headsets, maybe aren't huge into the gaming world. VR is kind of like, in many ways it's very connected to the gaming industry, but in some ways it's kind of like its own branch, so to speak. So
yeah.
I'm sure there's people out there that don't follow, you know, the traditional gaming industry as much, and maybe they're not aware of it. So I thought I'd just bring it up.
Well, I mean, I'd be one of them, but I
Yeah,
I think, well, just on a general level, I mean, I'm a big fan of Steam. I'm a big fan of Valve. Then again, like I don't know, like I said, I don't know enough about the gaming world to have really deep feelings one way or another. But everything that I've heard
sure.
about Valve and all my experiences with Steam have been really good so far.
Yeah,
But the thing is, like, even with that said, I'm all about competition. I
yeah,
think good competition, good healthy competition keeps people on their toes. It keeps people innovating. So this will be, if it forces, not forces, but if it pushes these platforms to pay developers more. I mean, that's one of the big things that we were talking about in all these conversations we've had with developers is, how do you have a sustainable model? And the thing is, like, we're not talking crazy numbers here, but it's a pretty big difference, 18% to have 18% more revenue could mean hiring another person, or you know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
so much that could come into it. So I will be curious to now that I know, obviously, but I will be curious to see how that kind of plays out. And with the popularity of Fortnite, Epic Games definitely has come into the spotlight. So we'll keep an eye out on that for sure.
Yeah, no, and yeah, and from a developer's point of view, like I totally agree with you. Competition's always great, and I mean, we hear from developers, from stories online, from all these things all the time about how it's hard to make money in VR right now, and so every little bit helps. Like if this leads to developers getting more out of Steam VR games on the Steam platform, like that's a win-win. So, and yeah, I think it's especially interesting considering how much, with the leaked Valve headset and the Knuckles on the horizon. There have been more and more Knuckles. I think prototypes being sent out to developers now. Like it
Mm-hmm.
supposedly Valve is sending them out in much bigger quantities now, rather than
Okay.
just from to limited. So one would assume that an announcement on that, maybe as a consumer release, would be like in the foreseeable future, and possibly the headset as well. So like if you know yeah, just knowing that Valve is still very committed to VR, and they may actually be taking a big upcoming jump into it. It's good to know that it's good to know their other business, their big business really, and in the Steam store, and we'll see how this all meshes out in the end, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is evolving. I mean, obviously, I actually didn't know a lot of the history of Epic Games until you kind of went into it, but
Yeah.
I'm sure no matter how successful they were before Fortnite, cannot even compare to the success that they've had
No.
after it. So things can change very very quickly because Fortnite came out what just less than 18 months ago, or
Probably,
ish.
yeah.
Yeah, so
No,
it's
I would imagine. Yeah, no, I'm not imagining. I'm sure. The Epic Games didn't see that coming. So like the where Epic Games is now versus prior to Fortnite is like night and day. Like I don't think anyone could have seen that. So
Yeah, my main point was that like the landscape can change quickly,
yeah,
and that's a good thing. Like I mean I'm excited for that innovation, all that jazz. So I hope that Steam still continues to focus on VR and put out good content. But if
yep,
Epic starts putting out some content, I will. There's no there's no necessarily loyalty at this
yeah,
point. It's more so
yeah,
just like, and a lot of this comes back to the whole like Oculus VR thing. Like I just want to see good content all around. The last thing I want to see is companies trying to stifle each other. You know,
I
like
agree.
like build like the biggest ship. Don't just like be tearing everybody else's down. And so,
Yeah,
if Epic wants to jump into the fray and put some VR content out, I hope they do. Then that would actually be
yeah.
pretty cool to see.
No, I agree. And indirectly, this could affect the Oculus store. Like I wonder if Steam is forced to kind of compete with these other stores, and they end up bringing their, like, I don't know what the cuts are
Uh
in
huh.
the Oculus store, but like yeah, this could the broader fight on the platforms, more generally, like the non VR game stuff, could end up really affecting the VR space as well in a positive way. So that
Awesome.
that'd be cool.
Yeah. No, I agree. Um, Cool, dude. Well, let's let's go ahead and jump into I guess our main topic, or at least what we wanted to chat about tonight, and that is Contractors VR.
Yep.
I don't even know how you guys came across this game. It was one of those things where I think you and Damon had been talking about it,
Yeah.
and
I mean, I
I
haven't
just wanted
really
to jump
been.
into the thing a couple nights ago.
Yeah. No, so I mean, long story short for me, I mean, I wish Damon was on the call just so he could. He follows the shooter scene more than either of us do. But like, yeah, with Contractors, I started seeing people talk about it quite a bit, and it kind of it shot up on the sales charts in for the Steam VR section.
Uh
So
huh.
I usually periodically just check what the highest selling games are, in Steam, and for VR, for virtual reality in specific. And yeah, I noticed Contractors was way up there in terms of lots of people were checking out and playing it, and it was getting great, uh, you know, positive feedback. So I was like, hey, we need to check this out. So we reached out to developers. They shot us over some copies. We got a chance to all jump in it and play it in co-op, and yeah, that's kind of where I guess you came into the
Yeah, I
story.
mean,
And
well, so first of all, it was a lot of fun. I cannot believe the game has only been out for like less than a week, and it's definitely gotten a lot of traction in that time frame already. But yeah, I mean, I the multiplayer aspect of it was fantastic. I mean, I've played Onward not nearly enough, but I've spent a decent amount of time in Onward, and this game it felt good. I've done some of the shooters, and again, like you said, just to echo your sentiment about Damon, I wish he was on this call because
yeah,
he's definitely into the shooter scene much more than I am or
I
you
feel
are.
like the way he described it to me when we were like, because I was trying to gauge his reactions when we were playing it, and he
Hmm.
basically, I mean, the two big ones other than Contractors now, the two big like VR shooter games are like yeah, VR, I guess multiplayer, more like tactical type shooters,
Uh huh.
or Onward and Pavlov VR, and then now this, and the way Onward is kind of more hardcore, more simulation-y in terms of it's slower paced and you really are taking your time tactically. Pavlov is more like Counter Strike Go or something like that, where
Hmm.
it's fast paced and the maps are all like you're kind of going at each other, at a more frantic, type of pace and all of that. And then he felt like Contractors was somewhere in the middle, where
Yeah,
it felt like it was faster than Onward, but it wasn't like super arcadey either.
no, it had a very good feel to it, and I can definitely agree with that assessment. Having spent, and again, just a caveat, limited time in both Pavlov and Onward, but
Yeah,
enough to be able to recognize the differences in both of them and the differences between both of them and Contractors. And there's something about the simplicity of it, like just being able to
I
jump in
agree.
and go.
I agree.
I think the only issues that we had in terms of that aspect was trying to figure out how to party up and get into a room.
Yeah,
But then,
ironically, like,
yeah,
yeah, for me, like, ironic, and I think you probably have more experience in Onward than I do. But I have played like a fair bit of Onward. I haven't really played much of Pavlov. Um, but yeah, my instant feeling when I first booted up the game was I was a little bit lost in terms of like I felt like the tutorials were a little bit hard for me to grasp, and I don't know if that's just me not spending enough time with the tutorial videos or what, but it like I needed you guys to kind of guide me through like figuring out the controls a little bit,
mm.
because
I
I
mean, yeah,
think for someone.
I went through the tutorials and they were actually really well done and
Okay,
self-explanatory.
so
But
so that so
just to
maybe
call that out.
okay, so yeah, different people I guess will have different experiences with it, but
Oh,
so I was
I
just
thought you were saying that you didn't go through it.
no, I didn't. I went through some of it, but not all of it. Yeah, so that's probably what it was.
Oh, okay.
I probably should have.
I wasn't trying to
Yeah.
say that, Ronnie. It's super easy.
No,
What
no,
is
no,
wrong with
no,
you?
no.
I was just
I
saying that like it was nice to actually have them there,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
not
yeah.
it's not this like really long thing or
Well, because
incomplete.
have you ever done is there a lot of tutorial stuff in Onward and Pavlov, or not really?
To be
Do you
honest,
know?
I don't even know about Onward because it's one of those things where like I learned the game so long ago, like after it came out that
Yeah.
a lot of the basics, I just picked up already, so I never go back and try the tutorials. But
Okay.
I'd
No,
say
that
that a
makes
lot of
sense.
these games have very, very similar functions in how they
Yeah.
do it. Like this one was a little bit different. Like the reloading mechanism was slightly different, so I had to learn that. But again, like
Yep.
once you learn that, they show it to you, and it's not
Yeah.
anything too
No, and
crazy. And
once
it's still a lot of
yeah.
it's still really intuitive, which I like.
It really was like no. So that was the thing. So right off at the very very beginning when I first played it, like when I just booted it up before I got a chance to really talk to you guys and get into a match, I was a little bit confused with like some of the mechanics, like just the reloading stuff, and again, that's from someone that really doesn't spend a lot of time in a lot of these shooters without like I'm usually in there with Damon or somebody else that's kind of anytime I have questions they answer them for me and I get going. So that was my first kind of rough experience, and then you guys jumped in, and then yeah, the next kind of issue we had was just trying to as a party get into different matches, and I think we actually finally figured that out how to get that working. I think it just became easier. So
Oh,
we were
was this
having
after
trouble.
I signed off?
Yeah, no, it was while you were still in it, but I think so. So we were inviting each other to parties, and then we would be in a party, and then we'd try to join a match, and for whatever reason, it would just take forever, and we wouldn't get into matches. So eventually, we just all left the party, through separate chat, agreed on what ongoing server we would join, and then we would join it, and then it was working flawlessly.
Yeah.
But I think it would have eventually connected us with a game. I think what it was doing was it was trying to find a game where maybe all three of us as the party could get in on one
On the
side,
same
or
team. Yeah. No,
yeah, or something.
that
And
makes sense. And if you looked at it, a lot of the games were like didn't have space for three people.
exactly. So maybe just for those out there, like I bet there's not a ton of people that are gonna have like huge parties
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
that are trying to
If you're
join
single
games,
player, you just jump right in, and it's
and
super
it's
easy to get
fast.
into a game.
Yeah. But so
Um,
once we got around that stuff and we were actually in the matches, man, like literally after just a couple of rounds, I felt like I was super comfortable. And by the end of it, I felt like I was competing. Like, I mean, more like we all had good and bad games, but I felt like we could actually go in there and compete with people and have a lot of fun.
I don't know about compete, but I think the player base, I think the player base is small enough now that we don't completely suck, which is good.
Yeah. That's
But
that's what I'm when I say compete, I mean like we have like
yeah,
we're
it's
every
fun.
now and then we're
It's
getting some
fun. Yeah.
kills. Yeah.
It's as opposed to playing against like more I don't want to call it pro, but just like players who are much more into it or who have a lot more experience in it and can kind of
Yeah.
kill
I
you
mean
with one shot.
yeah, exactly. We've all been in those situations, usually in non VR games actually, where like you load up a map and as soon as someone has their sight on you, you're dead. And you have no time to react or anything like that. Like I think part of what I like so much about contractors, I mean, there's obviously a high degree of skill that you can, get by playing it a lot, but I just really like how the maps are so varied. Like each of
Yeah.
the maps had such like there's, like more of like a foresty kind of vibe. There's a city, there's like a rocky kind of, desert type landscape, and each of those, not only do they look different, but they have different like rock formations and different like the actual makeup of the game. I really like how you can have there's all kinds of elevation. So rather than having to just like be in a building to go and snipe down at somebody, like there's literally like rocks and little mountains and hills and all that kind of stuff. And I just felt like there was a lot of creativity that was opened up by the level design in
Mhm.
terms of as a player, you can kind of like there isn't just one way of using the map to your advantage. There's all kinds of ways of figuring out how to best approach enemies.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's 5 on 5, which can get a little, I don't want to say crowded at times, but the thing is, like, it's the maps were a good size for that, right? Like, there was a lot to explore, a lot to walk around in, and I think the other thing that really stuck out to me, at least in contrast to Onward and probably Pavlov as well, although I haven't jumped into there as recently as I'd like to, um, it's very bright. It
Yeah,
reminded me of Arizona Sunshine. So, the graphics look great, but also it's just like it's super bright. So it's not like, it's easy to see. The environment just feels kind of like I really don't know how to describe it. Just but it feels good, right? Like I think there's a grittiness
yeah,
that comes with Onward, which is fine because it matches like what that game is all about, right? Like you're in very urban environments for a lot of it. Um and so but like with this, it's just like I mean, it reminded me and I know I keep going back to this, which will probably date me, but like it reminded me of like Halo, for example. Just
yeah,
like
yeah,
the really kind of like bright landscapes. There's just random objects here and there. There was some
yeah.
urban areas, but
No, I can
but
see the
but the
I can
terrain,
see
like
the
you said, was
comparison.
very like up and down.
Yeah. No, I can see the comparison for sure. And no, I'm still like, I mean, we talked about like when I had like, oh, this is like almost a year ago now when I was playing Space Junkies with Ubisoft. That I think it was GDC the first time, but like,
Hmm.
yeah, one of the things I left from there like glowing about is like this is like Halo in VR, and this is like, yeah, I agree with you. The maps felt like that, and one of
Yeah.
the best things about Halo. were the maps.
Yep.
And yeah, I totally agree with you. Like some of the maps here, I felt like the maps were the showstoppers for me, anyways. So that's where like the mechanics they felt similar to Onward or Pavlov, like the like different but similar, and it's still like like fairly realistic, like kind of tactical type gameplay. But then it's just the way the maps are designed, just make it feel so different and so fun. Like yeah, the maps felt like a place I wanted to be in when we were in those matches, and like the time just kind of disappeared. Like I really I could have played, like if we didn't have to go because we've been playing a long time. Like I could have played double that amount of time and not felt any kind of fatigue or
Yeah,
anything like
I mean,
that.
I wanted to stay in there with you guys,
Yeah,
but I mean, it was what past like 12:30 and
yeah.
in the
No, I
evening,
had to go
so
shortly after you too, so that's why. Like, no, I mean we had been playing like I said. It I mean, and I'm one of those people. Like I know you and Damon don't really usually get motion sickness, but
yeah.
I can sometimes get motion sickness. But at least at the default, like I didn't change anything in the settings. So whatever defaults that they had going for them in terms of like the locomotion, um, I mean it works great. It didn't
Yeah.
have me feeling nauseous
I
at the
remember I
least bit.
even
And I was
asked you while we were playing. I'm like, "How's the locomotion feel?" And you seem to be totally normal.
yeah, and I really like. I mean, if there was a hint of me feeling a little bit strange at the beginning, it was just because I was getting used to like pushing down the circle pad to run,
To
and then
sprint,
like
yeah.
yeah, but like once I kind of got the hang of it, I mean, I was moving all over the place and really using the movement to its fullest. And I didn't, yeah, I felt totally great afterwards. Like I would love to jump in again and play more. Like
Yeah.
it was super fun. So,
They well, I don't know if you even tried this, but there's like a little slide function which is really cool, and I don't think we were utilizing that very well. But
oh, how do you use?
it's actually really cool because I was doing it in like the practice rounds, and now thinking about it, I'm just like, oh, I was doing it while just like in training or like in that little lobby area. But now
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, man, all those times you're like trying to get around a corner or do something like tricky, like those are the times that you use it, and I really wasn't using it well or at
Wait, is
all.
it like a kind of strafe or like what is it like?
No, like you literally slide across the floor. Like you have to be crouched. No. You
Ah.
have to be running, and I think if you crouch, you automatically slide or something like that. Like
Oh,
the tutorials had it, yeah. But the thing is, like you end up sliding, and it's just got this cool like action movie kind of vibe to it, right? Because you're like
okay.
sliding across the floor, and I think like it's one of those things where that does allow you to cover a door or cover like an open space between things and like
Got
make
it.
make it more difficult for someone to hit you if they're expecting you up high.
Yeah, because I like the combination, like again, like the simplicity of it all. Like it was fun that like in a lot of these kind of games, because I'm not super great at competitive multiplayer, I kind of get lost. Like it's hard for me to focus on actually getting kills and actually achieving the mission objectives at the same time sometimes.
Yeah,
But this
you're doing
game,
great though.
yeah, like I felt like it was just really like cut, like very cut and dry. Like you had arrows telling you where the next objective was, and it was just. I know most games have that, but for some reason it was just super clear
Yeah,
in Contractors. And then once you got there, like really it was about you hanging out in that area, and it
a
and
lot of it
you
was just like capture the area type of thing.
yeah, but it just seemed, and then it was fun. Like again, because of the level design, I think it was really fun defending our territory and working together to like. I like how they kind of let you have kind of extended kill cams.
Uh huh.
So if if I die, for example, before you do, and you're in that area, after being dead, I can kind of tell, like I can warn you, I can kind of help guide.
Yeah,
Hey, he's on this side. He's on this side. Like blah blah blah.
that
And
was
I
funny.
yeah. So like, and it would really help, and it would be a lot of fun. Like you felt like you were really working as a team to
hmm
to get the
Well, and
objectives
I
done.
think it was nice for us because we were all communicating quite a bit.
Yeah.
The people who were on our team, I mean, I don't know. Maybe actually, I don't feel like they were communicating that much, but
Sometimes it depends on the
yeah, it
map
depends.
because there was another, like I agree with you, like in the on the server that we were in, we were communicating a lot, you, me, and Damon, but other people weren't so much. But there was a time when we were all on different servers, and there are definitely other players out there that communicate. Because
Yeah, I was definitely hearing people talk, but like I said, I think the multiplayer aspect of it just makes it really fun. And if you have people that you're going to be playing with, I mean, that just takes it to a whole nother level. But
yeah,
I think as the player base continues to grow, people get more comfortable with it. You'll probably
I
have a lot
agree.
more of that where it's just like, hey, cover my back, blah blah blah, this and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Man, talking about this game more though, like I I'm excited about my vacation, but man, I wish I could take my headset with me so that we could get some more of these sessions in,
Take the
because it would be
Oculus with you.
that's what. But my only thing is I have to figure out a PC to run it off of, because I'm gonna
Oh,
be like I
you
more
need
and
a
more.
travel laptop,
I know.
like
See,
a
more and
gaming
more, I'm
laptop.
thinking like I have a good laptop, but it doesn't have a GPU.
Mm,
There's you can buy these Thunderbolt GPU enclosures. It's just kind of expensive. Like you can literally hook up a graphics card
yeah.
to your laptop and play it off of that. But it's, I mean, you're talking like it's. I haven't looked at the prices, but I want to say it's probably like $600-700. Like,
Mm.
but it might be worth it one of these days to try to get something like that for content purposes. But we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, just because you said the Oculus is
Because
so much easier to set up on a
yeah,
portable like
oh,
level. So,
it's super easy to set up. You just need a computer to run it. And like I said, like my laptop just doesn't have the graphics power,
hmm
but I could supplement it with something that plugs into it, but it's just expensive. So if I did get that GPU enclosure like I'm talking about,
hmm
then like game over, it's done. Like literally I just have to take that
that'd be
little
awesome,
enclosure with
man. You
me
could
and my
literally
laptop
just pack it
and
up
my
into a bag.
yeah, easily. Like you could easily fit into like a backpack or smaller. And yeah, with yours, it's actually like I think if I had your system, I'd be able to do it because your system's pretty small.
Yeah. I mean, well, you built my system, so
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm saying, but your system is like approaching portable
portability. Yeah.
territory.
I mean,
But
I think ultimately it'd still be nicer to have a laptop.
oh, for sure. And
And I
nowadays,
wonder if
like
you're gonna spend that much money, you might as well like just look into getting an actual gaming laptop.
that's what there might be something like now. It's a lot easier to run VR off of a laptop than when we started. Like, I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean,
when we built your computer, like 2-3 years ago, um, you know, a 1070 was really high end, and now you can get 1060s and laptops for pretty cheap, and that's like not a terrible VR experience if you need to. So
I mean, mine is pretty good so far.
oh no,
No
yours, yeah,
complaints.
no, yeah, exactly. No, yours is great. I'm saying like since yours, like I would say, like when we built your system, like there was really no way they didn't have that level of GPU power in a
In a
laptop really.
laptop, yeah.
Now you can find more and more of them. They're still fairly expensive, but they're not like you can actually find relatively cheap options for that kind of stuff now.
Yeah, I'm like
So
super curious. Yeah, see, I'm looking at Newegg and like one of the top items here, and I don't know how good it is, but
yeah,
they have an Asus VR ready and gaming laptop for 800, and it
man,
comes
what
well, it comes
GPU
with a
does it say it have?
it comes with a 1060.
Okay, see that's what I was thinking. Yeah, see, so like at that stage, yeah, if as long as it runs it somewhat adequately,
Mm-hmm.
like it might be worth getting that versus an external GPU. Because the thing with external GPUs, I mean, in addition to it still not being as portable as a laptop by itself,
Yeah.
because you're gonna have to lug your laptop with you plus this box with a graphics card in it, right?
Yep.
It's pretty portable, but it's not as portable as just a laptop. And then in addition to that, whatever card you have in there is going to take a slight performance hit. So I probably wouldn't get anything much more than a 1070 anyways for something like that. And like if I wasn't going to use my main graphics card,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you talk about it being throttled a little bit by the connection and all that, like yeah, 1060 is going to be about the same. So I feel like man, that's
Yeah,
so for
a
people
lot of
out
these
there
are
that
1060s. There's very few 1070s that are listed on here. But
yeah.
sorry, I'm just kind of scrolling through
No,
and
no, no, but that's really not that bad. Like I mean, and then you have a laptop too. I mean,
yeah,
if
I
you
mean,
like
it's a brand new computer essentially.
yeah. So no, I who knows? That's what like Yeah, when I got my laptop, there wasn't a lot of great like I love my laptop, but it's a Lenovo Yoga. It's really nice. There just wasn't a lot of great high performance GPU solutions that I liked out at the time.
How old is your laptop?
It's pretty new. It's like about a year and a half old.
Gotcha. If only you could trade that in. That might actually be.
I know. See, now I see the benefits of getting something that would let me play, because man, that would be so sweet. Because I
Yeah.
would be able to just bring it with me. And yeah, I mean, yeah, throwing those sensors and the headset in a bag is no problem at all. I could take it with me on the plane, and then wherever I land, I can just whip out my laptop and boom.
You could even set it up in the airport while your flight is delayed or something.
Yeah, that would be like with a Rift, like actually pulling out the sensors and stuff. That'd be,
Yeah.
I still haven't, like, I know a lot of people bought Oculus Goes. Have you ever seen anybody like using one like in public?
I have not. No, not yet.
Yeah,
Have you?
I haven't. So no, I'm just curious, like, because that would be something funny to do. Like, I imagine at some point. I guess I haven't traveled a lot internationally, but I
The
feel
thing is,
like
yeah,
an international flight would be a good time to like pull out an Oculus Go.
yeah, I'd probably only use it on flight. Like if I can't imagine somebody on like the CTA trains or like you know what I mean? Like if somebody just
Yeah.
did that, I'm like, dude, you're just asking to get like robbed or something, you know?
You're gonna
Like
get robbed,
or
and you're also gonna miss like your
like
stop every single day.
yeah, or like somebody or like if somebody's just like in a park bench like sitting with that on, I just it'd be super weird. Like I'm just like I
This is a super like side note, because I know, like, we've already mostly talked about contractors, but
uh-huh.
today I was watching a YouTube video, Linus Tech Tips video. It's a good channel. Like, I watch all kinds of like computer video, and most people are gonna know who Linus is if they like PC videos. Anyways, he had a video that was released today about like this new LG TV, or it's like an LG OLED panel that he got some hands-on time with.
Mhm.
And the cool thing about it, like, it's not released yet, but it's something that's more for like future uses, and then also for like businesses and stuff. But it's a see-through like OLED panel. So it's basically like, like an OLED TV.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like that, but it's see-through, and it's a glass. Like
Wow.
you can literally on the other side, like, so you can stand on the other side, and like you can just see through it. And so depending on like you would imagine like the applications for it, and it's hard to explain without seeing video of it. But like, let's say like you had your whole store like glass panel, and like it's like you have a display in the front of your store.
Uh-huh.
Imagine like you have something in the display, like, I don't know, jewelry, or like, just like a setup, and then on the actual glass, it's showing you like the pricing, and like maybe an advertisement or something, like kind of like as like a like a frame or something around what you're physically
Around what it
seeing
is, yeah.
behind it. And so like, and it's really dynamic. Like, it can fill the whole screen. It can like do all kinds of stuff, whatever. And he did tons of experiments in the video where like they would have someone stand behind it, and like I mean, you could kind of see through it while you were playing it when
Mhm.
the lights were on. But if you put a black screen, like if you put just a black cloth behind it and turned off the lights, you couldn't tell the difference between it and like a normal panel. And so and
Interesting.
so we and so they were talking about, like, man, like, what would be some interesting applications. I don't think he mentioned VR, but I immediately was thinking, how cool would it be if you could have like VR panels where literally, like, when you pushed a button, like you could literally just see through the goggles.
Yeah. That would be kind
And
of
then
cool.
and
Well, I
then
mean
and
that's
then
that's
like some
that's kind
kind
of
of
like
polarized lens where like literally, like, if you wanted to just be in the headset, like, it's kind of like the like using the Vive's camera or whatever
yeah.
to kind of see. But I mean,
No,
this is
I get what you're going
literally
for.
like,
I'm
yeah,
wondering
you'd
like
just be
that's
seeing
almost
through it.
playing with like augmented reality type of thing, but instead now it's just like you're allowing a full pass through of like a VR goggle
Yeah, I just think it would be super useful,
or
because one
VR
of the things
lens.
that's hard about a headset, besides the fact that they're bulky right now, is the fact that you're kind of, locked in there. And
Dude,
so it would
that's
just
going to be
like
so
along
trippy. I love it.
Yeah, just along with making, like, you can imagine you want goggles and all that kind of stuff to be smaller and slimmer and more easily. But like, if in addition to that, you could actually see through them when you needed to, or like it would be semi-trans, like I just think that would be super cool to see.
No, I fully agree. That would
Yeah.
be well, yeah. I mean, that would be actually
And
really
it's interesting
interesting.
that it's interesting that there's technology out there that can do similar kinds of things. Like I'm sure it would have to be different in
Hmm.
order to work in a VR headset, but it's close enough to that concept where like seeing that I was like, "Oh, this is actually a possible thing." Like
Someone, whether it's 3, 4, 10, 15 years down the road, is going to be able to put those two technologies together.
exactly, and like somehow figure it out. Like if someone, if that's worth doing, hopefully someone will do it. You know.
Hmm. I mean,
So
I think it'd be cool if like the glasses that I'm currently wearing can just turn into VR goggles right away.
see, I
And
mean,
then
exactly,
like when I'm done, I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, just flip them back
and then it's
off
just
and
like
just keep
glasses.
walking
Like
around like normal.
yeah, see, and like and you would have to think that that's kind of a similar technology in some way, like
Yeah.
to having a glass. Like it's just exactly. Like it's fascinating to me that man, some of the things like that can already be done are so crazy. So
Well, I mean, maybe they'll have for Gen 2, who knows?
I mean,
Uh,
here's hoping.
yeah, no, I mean, well, either way, I'm excited for what's to come. I really hope that this break between Gen 1 and Gen 2 isn't just like incremental changes. I'd really like to see
Well, I
something
mean,
cool
I
happen.
ironically I mean, if the rumors about a Valve headset are true, I'm super excited. Like, I really want to get a Valve headset if that's the case, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if Valve is going to be releasing a headset with the knuckle controllers, like, I'm in. Like, I want one. And then likewise, like, and this is someone that didn't bite on a Vive Pro, and someone who was kind of a little bit like, like I've spent a lot of money on VR equipment. So, like, besides getting equipment for content and everything, I mean, we've invested a lot of money into this stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to sometimes justify spending tons and tons more. But man, like they already kind of have me on a Valve headset. If a Valve headset comes
Oh
out
yeah.
and it's similar, like if it's similar to a Vive Pro resolution, but you're using the knuckle controllers and you're using other Valve magic in there. Who knows what they're incorporating? Then I'm already very interested. And then on top of that, you have the Oculus Quest coming out for $400, and that's a standalone Rift essentially. Like I'm kind of sold on that. Like I'm like I already know that that's going to cost $400. I know it's coming out in April of 2019. I'm already recommending that to people that haven't jumped on. Like people
Yeah.
now that are
I mean,
asking me about.
to be able to do it
Well,
without a high-end computer makes a
that's what
huge
I'm.
difference.
That's what I'm saying. And like, I mean, the problems that we were talking about, obviously, that would still be an issue with a Valve headset. But like, if I had an Oculus Quest right now, I would be able to play VR without having to worry about taking anything else with me, like
Very
on my
true.
trip. It's just one of those things. Like I think I'm like obviously like unless something comes out that I'm completely unaware of now, I think I'm probably going to be a day one Oculus Quest owner. So yeah, there's like cool stuff coming out in the future, and I don't know. Like I'm like on one hand, yeah, like you, like I wish Gen 1 was catching on more than it has to some degree, but on the other hand, all the stuff that's coming out in the future just looks super positive and super interesting, and we all knew that this was the enthusiast portion of the of the long term trajectory of VR, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
this generation was, I mean, it was definitely consumer level in terms of, I mean, look at all the amazing games that we've gotten to play since we got our Vives, and Rifts and all of that. Like, I mean, from where things were back then to where things are now, there is an ecosystem here, and
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
and there's
I
and there's
couldn't
an
agree
idea
more.
of some things that work and don't work, and like yeah, there's still a ton of room to grow, but like there's been a lot that's been figured out and worked on in these past couple of years, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
with Valve taking a swing hopefully in the future, with Oculus coming out with the Quest, Like I mean, I think that there's a lot coming out really soon that's going to be really really incredible.
No, I agree, man, and it's super exciting to me. Like, I don't know who I was having this conversation with, but like the main like point that like got me super pumped was, I'm thinking about Atari, which came out, well, a little bit like 40 years ago, 40-ish years ago. And you look at, the games that are available now, like PS4, PS4 Pro, Xbox One X, like just the type of games that are available on these
Mhm.
consoles and what these consoles are really capable of. And I know
Mhm.
that's a 40-year time period, so yeah, it can seem kind of long, but if we look at VR as like the Atari of this generation of entertainment, I mean, just imagine, like, I mean, this is why watching that Ready Player One movie was actually really exciting, because I'm just like, we can't even really fully imagine or fathom like what, somebody playing Pong on Atari and somebody playing Red Dead Redemption 2 or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On these consoles, and like that, just the breadth of the game, the what you can do, artificial intelligence in the game, like, I don't know, man. I think it's gonna be really really cool.
No, I totally agree. And sky really is the limit because who would have thought that we'd be like if you took like, I don't know, like 2012 or 2013 version of me and introduced them to some of the experience that I've had a chance to play now, like just hey, this is what you're going to be doing in 2 or 3 years. Like my mind would have been blown
Yeah.
because it was just because some of the things like we just take for granted that we're just like in these like we're literally in our
Hmm.
games that we're playing like when you me and Damon were playing Contractors the other day, like to some extent, like yeah, I mean I mean it's literally us on the in those maps like doing what we're doing, like it's nuts, it
Yeah,
doesn't make
no,
any sense.
it's amazing. Well, and the thing is, like, I know I always go back to this, but honestly, like, it's 100% how I feel, and it's like when I tried the Vive for the first time at your place, not having followed this tech, not having followed the scene or whatever, I
Yeah.
was like, "Holy crap." I did not know this technology existed, and I didn't realize that it was this good already. And what
Yeah.
blows my mind is that was almost 2.5 years ago, and there are still people today who have not tried VR, and there's a lot of
I
them
know.
who haven't
I
tried
know.
VR. And
I
imagine
know.
how much it's come along in that time, the different types of games, and within the next like year, I think the masses will start to really pour in once you have something like Oculus Quest, and like stuff that makes it just
Mhm.
easier for people to get in, because there's
No,
so like I have
100%.
so many friends, like I've become like the pseudo like VR guy, right? Just because
Yeah.
I got this podcast and I'm always having people over to play, and so like so many people want to get into it. They just it's an investment at this point,
Yeah,
really.
and and you and me both know how difficult it is. Like we've spent a lot of time figuring this stuff out so that we can make it seem really nice and easy for them. But
Hmm.
it's still kind of complicated, right? And like, and I agree. Like, yeah, once you have, I think really Oculus Quest is probably going to be the first product, hopefully, that it just has everything in a package that's easy enough and at the same time good enough to just easily recommend to those people that
Yeah.
like I can just foresee like there are a lot of people out that I've showed VR to that if for $400 they could get a similar experience and they don't have to worry about the PC side or like figuring
Hmm.
any of that stuff out, like most of those people would buy in, I think.
I mean, I think a lot of people would buy a Vive for 600 right now if they didn't have to buy the PC. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I just the portability of it, everything that comes along. I think Oculus is gonna really break some barriers next year, which will be exciting to see. I mean, like I said, I'm team VR. I just want to see some cool stuff, man.
Yep, I totally agree.
All right,
So
well, we are just getting all hyped up about about VR now instead of talking about contractors. So let's go ahead and wrap this one up here, because everybody who's listening probably feels the same way already. So,
yep.
do you got anything else? Anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I think that's it. Just yeah, contractors, ton of fun.
It is
If
on
you're
sale
into
right now. I'm assuming for, I don't know for how long it's just the
maybe
winter
the
sale,
yeah,
but
okay,
but it is on sale. It's 15% off right now. I think the usual price is $20. So,
okay,
I mean, I had a blast with it. I think if you are into shooter games, this is definitely something that is worth trying out.
yeah, and I think
And even if you're
and just
not, yeah.
yeah, for people that haven't like or maybe they're like a little bit intimidated by games like Onward. I think this is a pretty good medium in
Yes,
terms of like,
yes.
it's not like it's pretty approachable, but it's also like it has nuance and complexity for those that are looking for it. So I think it's
Yeah.
like a good. I think anyone can jump into this and hopefully have a lot of fun.
Yep. And if you do, definitely let us know. Hit us up on Twitter. I think Ronnie, you've been awesome on that. So hit us,
Yep, yep.
shoot us up. Sorry, shoot us up. Shoot us a message or hit us up. I'm getting my words mixed up now. Gonna get in trouble here. So, um, with that, it is late here at Chicago Night. Ronnie, man, well, you have a good one. Enjoy your trip, and we'll try to connect sometime next week. We got one more episode that we're gonna try to crank out before the end of the year, and we want to talk about just all the games that we've tried in 2018. So, stay
Yep.
tuned for that. And dude, I'll talk to you later, man.
All right. Take care.